To say Manchester United's injury problems have been a problem this season is the understatement of the century. To say that Man United have got more injury problems going into the Chelsea game is completely factual. Lisandro Martinez is out. Victor Lindelof is out. Rafa Varane, he trained. Maguire trained. Evans trained. But will they be fit to start? Will they be fit to finish 90 minutes? I've got no idea. I really don't. What I'm going to do in this video is run through what Ten Hag said in his pre-match press conference, run through the starting 11 that played against Brentford, and run through the changes that I would make, because more changes needed. I'll tell you what, there's not really much you can do in terms of the defensive options. I'm going to run through it all. It's frustrating, man. Manchester United this season and injuries. Erik Ten Hag speaking about it before the game, saying that up front and in midfield, we've got options, and Varane, Evans, they're training this afternoon. Maguire was back. I personally don't think it's a coincidence that the bigger problems that we've got are with defensive issues. It's because that's what that rest defense is. The line that's too deep, covering a load of space. In-game management, I don't think has been good. Also on top of that, the exacerbated issues of the exhaustive schedule, of the pre-season, of the mid-season World Cup, of everything that's gone on. There are so many mitigating factors. Erik Ten Hag said, we've got an idea of what it is. It's a lot of things. I spoke about that in my live show this morning. It's not just United who have got these injury problems, all right? It's not an isolated problem with just our club. Newcastle, probably the other, well, they've had an absolute ton, but they play in a very aggressive, high-intensity system that Eddie Howe got these players overachieving with, and now that their fitness levels have collapsed, so have Newcastle. But in terms of who's fit to start this game, well, I'll tell you two players who aren't. Two more centre-backs gone. We don't have a fit, natural left-back in this squad. We've only now, just for the last week or two, had two fit right-backs. You need two fit, top-level players in every position to compete at the highest level. Now, Man United did not compete, I don't know what level you want to call that game against Brentford. It was atrocious. It was such a hard watch as a United fan. In terms of the defence, we know one change that's absolutely going to happen because Victor Lindelof joins the long list of players who are unavailable. Now, Rafa Varane and Johnny Evans. On paper, this might be the starting centre-back partnership. But Rafa Varane's been speaking this week about concussion. He's been speaking about, just in his words, the damage that he's done to his body through heading the ball throughout his whole career. And I actually think concussion in football's, I still feel like they're only just sort of like opening the lid on it. It's only going to get worse. Who would I start? I probably would start both of them. But maybe I'd start... Would I? I probably would start Erik. I think I'd start Maguire, actually. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is that this defence is going to look makeshift again. And one thing I really... I think if you're looking at probably the only fit centre-back that we've got at this club right now is Willy Cambuala. Maguire, he's back in training. He wasn't fit to complete 90 minutes against Brentford. Rafa Varane, did he? I think he went off, didn't he? Was it Lindelof who went off? Lindelof went off. Varane, concussion concerns. Martinez, injured. Lindelof, now out for another month. Cambuala's probably the only fit centre-back, so maybe he starts. It gives you more athleticism in defence because the rest defence has to cover a ton of spaces. Now, something I really want to see against Chelsea is Dalot playing in his actual position and Wan-Bissaka playing left. No, my bad. Who am I kidding? That's the exact opposite of what I want. Out of the two, Dalot can play left back better than Wan-Bissaka. Give Wan-Bissaka the natural angles at right back. I think Dalot is better at being that inverted fullback. I think Dalot is just better in the left back backup position than Wan-Bissaka is. Yeah, I think that's quite an easy thing to say, but it's also a very true thing to say. That would probably be the defence I'm going for, but it's just... We're not keeping a clean sheet, all right? I don't mean to be a doom monger, but there's no way we keep a clean sheet. Now, there's something that I want to see in midfield as well, right? Scott McTominay started in central midfield against Brentford, and lo and behold, Manchester United didn't have too much going through the middle. Scott McTominay, it really annoys me when he gets used incorrectly. And I keep using the comparison because the comparison is completely fair. Marouane Fellaini. Use him in the right way, McTominay is an asset. And that's why, completely, not kind of irrelevant, I suppose. It's why I don't want to see him start in central midfield. And also why I've pulled up a photo of Kobbie Mainoo playing against Everton here. Because it was against Everton where Kobbie Mainoo played pretty much a different role in midfield to what he's played since. Kobbie Mainoo ended up playing the deeper of the midfielders and really dropped to receive the ball first from his defenders. He was the man who was linking that midfield. Now, since then, Mainoo's kind of crept up a little bit further, and he's been so impressive. And I've no doubt that's where his future lies. But for this game against Chelsea, I would rather see Mainoo drop deeper, receive the ball first from his defence. I would put McTominay on the bench. I mean, I'd probably play Amrabat there, if I'm being honest. I don't think he will. What I want to see is this. I want to see a midfield three of Mount, Bruno, and Mainoo. Mason Mount, I think, absolutely deserves to start this game. I mean, he's had a horrible season so far when it comes to injuries. That midfield there, it's not going to have control or balance. It's going to be chaotic. I know it's going to be chaotic. But that's the midfield that I would like to see because I think that's the midfield which is the most likely to benefit from the chaos. I just don't see Casemiro completing a 90. Look, Casemiro can come off the bench and make a difference in this game. McTominay can come off the bench and make a difference in this game. And I actually think McTominay from the bench is probably one of these. I would rather see McTominay from the bench with Mount starting than the other way around. I think McTominay would have more of an ability to change the game towards the last 20 than Mason Mount would. And I think Mason Mount would have more of a chance to impact the game from the start compared to McTominay. That's why I'm going for those in my midfield. Now, up front, there's a couple of questions you can ask. In my opinion, Garnacho starts. I think he had a muted game against Brentford. But if you're looking at consistent performers this season, probably Dalot and Garnacho. I mean, they haven't performed all season long, but just saying that on average, compared to the rest of the squad, they've actually exceeded because the rest of the squad have been so poor. I would start Garnacho, but it depends on what wing you would start him on, depending on what you think should happen in attack, right? Because I think there's a question to be asked around Ahmad. Because of that goal against Liverpool, he was really praised for his response in that game, the decisions he was making, the fact that he listened to the coaching staff. Do I think that he'll start this game? I mean, he could on paper, and the reason I'm saying that, of course, is because, again, we're looking at players who are in and out of form. Marcus Rashford. I think Ten Hag sticks with it. I think Ten Hag sticks with that as his front three. And if you're looking at players who can change the game from the bench in this game, you'd be looking at Ahmad. I mean, Anthony came off the bench and did change the game against Liverpool. You're probably looking at McTominay. And you're probably looking at Casemiro, I would say. Because Amrabat is a really weird signing, man. You know full well how much I thought that Amrabat could come in and make a difference, but he's just not been used in that sort of way. I don't think this team controls the game of football. I don't think it's going to be a game where we're going to look to control it. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be unadulterated chaos. That's the team that I would start. Mainoo being that deeper midfielder, doing the role that he did against Everton. I think in this game, in this situation, I think that's probably the best scenario. Bruno and Mount as the two midfielders. Erik, please drop the front press. Drop Manchester United into a mid-press, man, or mid-block, whatever you want to call it, all right? Don't get Rashford and everyone chasing up the pitch, all right? Drop into a shape like this. Make that pitch small. Look how much smaller that pitch is now. You can throw that over pretty much the whole team, and it's just stay compact. Please stay compact. Burst on the counter. Get Bruno in these positions here. Get Rashford playing up with a higher Chelsea defensive line, which it will be. There will be space in behind. All right. Get United playing in more positions like this against Chelsea. 1 second there. Mason Mount here. Well, it's getting a bit crowded here. Haaland waiting on his last man. And Bruno with these balls into these areas in behind. That's what I want to see, man. I don't want to see United operating with a chaotic front press that the fullbacks don't support, and then two centre-backs who don't have the pace, so they drop deeper, and it creates huge space in between the lines. It's not worked. It's not worked at any point this season. It's not going to work, Erik. He says, I've got an idea why these injuries are occurring. There's no doubt that Erik ten Hag's tactical approach is a contributing factor, and to pretend otherwise is a bit crazy. But there are so many other mitigating factors. My prediction for this game, shouldn't press that button. My prediction for this game, chaos. Complete chaos. 3-3. 3-3. This season's mad. Please just use the mid-block in this game.